What up everyone, it's your man Xman87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends video, and what I have for you today is the Amazon fan channel exclusive Marvel Legends Strange Tales Wave Blackheart Build-A-Figure series review. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's go! Kicking the wave off first, with no Build-A-Figure piece required, we'll take a look at the Weapon of Vengeance, aka Helverine. Alright, so just a heads up, there's a lot of outdated bucks in this wave, so I won't cover articulation for any of those. I'm only going to cover articulation for any of the new scopes. And what we have right here with this Wolverine, he is on the outdated Wolverine buck with the pins, and nothing new to him, so just the new head and the hands. The belt is reused from the House of X Wolverine, just repainted. Alright, so the head sculpt is so sick here. You got the adamantium skull exposed. You even get some markings on top of the skull right there. Beautifully painted silver. And the flames are really cool because they're in the shape of his cowl, or his hairdo actually. But, you know, same shape. Is really, really cool. Even where his mutton chops would be, there's flames bursting out of there. And through the eyes, that's just so sick. Man, I really like the teeth painted on there. And the hands, you got the claws bursting out into flames, so that is a really sick sculpt. I like the way they did the claws here. So I really like what they did here, making the plastic translucent and painting the adamantium skull over it. And for accessories, he only comes with 2 fists without the claws. And since I brought out that House of X Wolverine earlier, let me swap the head onto this one and see how it looks. And yeah, that looks pretty good to me. So for whatever reason, if you want an old man Logan looking head on this more classic brown suit looking body, you can do that and it looks really good. But I noticed they didn't paint the hairs on his arms. They should have done that at least. So yeah, that's pretty much your Helverine in a nutshell. Helverine is just your standard Wolverine figure with a new head and hands, but gets the job done capturing the look of Helverine, which is the highlight of the figure. Unfortunately, being on an outdated Wolverine body, it's got nothing else going on, which subtracts those highlights. This gets a 4 out of 10. Next, we are looking at Bloodstorm, which is an alternate reality version of Storm that turned into a vampire after being bitten by Dracula. So Bloodstorm here is mostly comprised of some of that Netflix Jessica Jones body. You know, same jacketed arms, same scrawny legs, which these legs don't fit Storm, man. They fit more of Callisto for sure. So that was the proper reuse, but it still has those same boots from that Punker Storm back in the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave, I believe. The jacket piece here, I believe, is new. It's not the same as the Netflix Jessica Jones, as you can see. Here she has a yelling head, and I really feel like her fangs are not prominent. So being a vampire, those fangs should be sticking out a lot more. And then her eyes came out really nice. You know, it's a good expression for the most part. You got her earrings right there, and then her mohawk tied into a ponytail. It's a nice wash. And a new torso right here, and man, did they risk it here with that cleavage. She's got some buckled straps sculpted on her top. She's got a belt with the X-Men logo on it, and these are new hands, by the way, new hand gestures with some sharp looking nails. So it makes for some cool looking claws. But yeah, this figure is stiff, barely any articulation here. But unlike the Netflix Jessica Jones and that Callisto body, surprisingly enough, they added a waist swivel here. So they kind of retooled that torso connecting to the hips right here, because as you can see, it's pretty much the same sculpt. Yeah, I'm not tripping out. It's the same. So they definitely retooled it to add a waist swivel there while giving you an upper torso rocker. For accessories, they give us an alternate head, and you can see the fangs painted over the lips right there. So I feel like we get more fangs with the closed mouth than we do with the open mouth. And it's another good expression here. You got the mohawk tied into the ponytail, but it's different. It goes more straight down than swept off to the side. And then we also get new hands, not the same open hands as before, as you can see. They sculpted some longer nails right there. They switched it up a bit. Instead of giving us the same female hands over and over again, you know, those same rehashed open hands. Gummy legs just don't do it, and they're so stiff. Like this, and the arms, not fun to pose at all. This vampiric version of Storm didn't click with me in the comics, nor does it in figure form either. Terribly shaped legs, stiff arms, that's just straight up weak sauce. The worst in the wave, and this figure sucked the fun out of it for me. This gets no higher than a 2 out of 10. Next up is Moonight in his Avengers gear when he became the official 24th member of the Avengers, joining their West Coast division. Alright, looking at our Avengers Moonight, it's the same as the last one. They just made the pinless version of the Sunfire Buck. They added some new layers here, and the cape is also new. So as you can see, this kind of curls in. This one was wider, and this one is a lot stiffer, where this one was very pliable. It's still pliable, but it feels stiff, and it doesn't feel nice, honestly. The head sculpt is different, so it's a new hood and head. So as I said, new head sculpt. Looks very good. I feel like the eyes are a little bit wider. They're not as tiny as this one. And as you can see, the difference in the hood, this one almost touches the nose, this one doesn't. And the hood drapes down a little more on the back, as you can see, where this is more lifted and bunched up. So it kind of rests with the cape. So as you can see the difference. So you got that Egyptian stylized armor, which looks good. It's got some paint on it. I do like that. The logo is vastly different too. You know, I like that too. And they also fixed the hips, because you can see the pegs connecting through the legs here. This one, no thigh gap, so that's much better. And also he has metallic gold right there at the calves. And one thing I do like about this one, with the black being inside the cape, it brings out the gold and the white in vanilla stance, so I do like that. I thought with the hood draping down more that he would get less articulation in the head, but same head range when looking up, comparing the two. For accessories, he's got the 3 crescent blades that you could plug into either fists. He also comes with a crescent blade, the bow staff, and gripping hands to hold them. And lastly, he comes with this new accessory, which is the Ankh, and it looks really good, matches well with the rest of his gear. Another missed opportunity not putting Moon Knight on the Renew Your Vows body. Same outdated Sunfire Buck, just a few new add-on layers and a new accessory. Everything else we've seen before on a Legends Moon Knight. This was a filler figure to help us complete the West Coast Avengers. I'm rating this Moon Knight a 5 out of 10. Next, we are taking a look at the son of Satan himself, Damien Hellstrom. What do I gotta say about this Damien Hellstrom? The only difference between this one and the HasLab version is that this one is pinless, and the pupils, he has actual pupils. The HasLab version had all yellow pupils. But everything else is the same from the HasLab. It's the modern version, so he's got those long capris, the bare feet from Shang-Chi, and those same dull plastic armored bits on his wristbands and the belt here. He got the peg hole on the back. It makes no sense. Unless they have a cape, then I understand why there would be a peg hole. But if they don't have it, just keep the peg hole out of that. Here's a closer look at the head sculpt, and he looks like a demonic Shawn Mendes, bro. He's got the pupils painted on the eyes, as I mentioned earlier. Got the eyeshadows underneath. The hairstyle I like. And then, actually, might look more like Harry Styles to me than Shawn Mendes. And he's got those elf-looking ears. He's got the pentagram painted on the chest, and nipples painted too. That's hilarious. Then for accessories, he comes with 2 gripping hands and his trident. And yeah, I'm not really into the demonic characters in Marvel. You know, this guy really helped tank the Engine of Vengeance. We were expecting like a Zarathos or a Blackheart that could save that Engine of Vengeance, but at that point, I don't think it was enough to save it. But this guy really made everyone back out of their HasLab. So the HasLab Engine of Vengeance, worst tier, comes back to haunt us here. We just don't have to pay $350 to get him. Another outdated buck in this wave that didn't make a difference. He should have stayed locked behind that EOV paywall. However, it was nice of them to give those who wanted him another chance to grab him. Hellstrom gets a 3 out of 10. Next up is already our third version of Voodoo in Marvel Legends. Here is Brother Voodoo. Alright man, I might have to go on a rant with this one, because this figure probably frustrates me the most out of this wave. Because why? Why a third Brother Voodoo figure? It's one of those outdated updates, because the first 2 times they made him, it was on the Bookie Cat mold. Now they put him on the Spider UK mold, which is just as old, or almost as old, as the Bookie Cat mold. They just made it pinless, and to me, that is not an update. If anything, it's more of a cop-out when they take those existing old molds and just update it to pinless. It looks updated, but if it's not a new sculpt, it's not updated. But his third figure, come on, how many characters have we waited in Marvel Legends to get an update for their second figure in the line, you know what I mean? And he gets 3 in the same costume? No way, man. You know, I could name a slew of characters that deserve 3 figures. Silver Sable, Better Ray Bill, Loki, Abomination, the Mandarin. We could go on and on of characters that deserve their third figure in the line over this guy. They gave him a few new things like these Captain Marvel Negabands. Oh no, they gave him the forearm cut seam right there. I hate that. The best thing about this figure is the cape. It's a new cape, nicely texturized. And the best thing about it is the Eye of Agamotto here. It is removable, which is dope. There we go. So you can switch your looks from Brother Voodoo to Dr. Voodoo. Obviously, he was Dr. Voodoo when he was Sorcerer Supreme, and he would have the Eye of Agamotto. But the thing is, the face that they gave him is of Dr. Voodoo, because he has that face paint. When he was Brother Voodoo, he didn't have the face paint going on, so he doesn't have an alternate head without the face paint. That would have been helpful, and that would have helped you display between the two looks. So doing this almost felt useless without having the extra head. I like the dreads though. Face sculpt with the new face print. I mean, that does look nice, I'm not gonna lie. He kind of reminds me of that wrestler, Papa Shango. And you got his design pattern painted nicely on there. A very long sash that's tattered. Some nice tattered sculpting there. I do like the skulls here. They're nicely painted. Got some, what looks like to me, beads painted there too. And his default hands are the fist for the left and the open hand on the right. Yeah, I wasn't really looking forward to this third Marvel Legends Dr. Voodoo. More like Dr. Doodoo. For accessories, he comes with those same twirling flame effects in purple. And he's got the gripping hands. And that's to hold his staff, which is the same as before. It's just in a purple translucent color this time. I hate seeing outdated updates such as this one. Just seems like wasted effort when there was a way better route Hasbro could have taken. This costume was already done twice before, and now the same costume for the third time. They should have done his classic red and green costume, you know, like how he actually appeared in Strange Tales. What a waste. This gets a 3.5 out of 10. Next up is the daughter of Dracula and the mother of demons, Lilith. Taking a close look at Lilith, and I absolutely love this head sculpt. Damn, it is really, really nice. I love the eyes. I love the paint around the eyes that resembles like these wings. It looks beautiful in that purple-black combination. The yellow eyes, her smell is really, really nice too. Got that dark purple lipstick, some green earrings right there, and her head, man, she's got that long squarish head. Her head was always oddly shaped. I never knew what it was. Was it a square or was it like just these horns? Because her hair starts in the middle right there on her forehead and goes all the way to the back. But look at how they executed the hair in a translucent smoky-like color. And it just looks so ethereal. It fits the bill for Lilith. Yeah, they really made her look out to be the gothic goddess that she is. This is really, really nice. I can't get over that hair. And the rest of the body is on that Shriek body. And she's got some really nice paint apps applied. As you can see, the torso's painted. You got the fishnet right there around her collar. Some bare cleavage right there between her and Storm here. They got a little risky. And then you see some more fishnets painted along the arms. Also, the paint continues onto the back. As you can see, more fishnet patterns right there. And her cape is plugged into the back. It is removable. You just gotta plug that in. But I do like the way the cape came out. Got that squiggly Batman cape kind of shape to it. Got her white gloves, the cuffs, open hands, and more fishnet stockings here. And what they did was make the legs entirely out of this silver metallic plastic molding and painted over it. But it does get a little bit sloppy here, unlike on the arms and here where it's clean. You can see it doesn't really connect. I mean, for the most part, it still looks nice looking at it from afar, but it is noticeable, and I do like the thigh highs here. It just adds more of a color blast to the figure, and I really like it. I mean, you get some of that marble swirling. But because she's very ethereal, especially with the hair, it kind of fits the bill to me. Damn, I love it. You didn't have to go mothering this hard in this wave, Lilith. And for accessories, she has a pair of fists. Like I said, it's hard to go back to the old female articulation scheme, but this is one figure that I do genuinely like in the wave. They painted a lot on this figure, and yeah, it missed the mark a little on the legs, but it still has a lot of paint, which makes the overall figure look good. Is she a top 10 Legends female figure this year? I don't think so, but enough to get an honorable mention. I'm rating Mother a 7 out of 10. Now the last carded figure in the wave, we are taking a look at the modern version of Dracula during the Marvel Heroic Age. Alright, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really interested in getting Dracula in the Marvel Legends line. I'm just not into those Marvel monsters like Dracula, Frankenstein, Werewolf, whatever. I know Toy Biz made a multi-pack of those monsters. Not really my thing. But I said to myself, if they're going to make a version of Dracula, I want this version of Dracula when he first appeared in this outfit during X-Men in the Heroic Age. I believe it was Curse of the Mutant storyline to kick off that storyline. That was a badass looking Dracula, and we get just that. And this was my favorite look of him, mostly because, you know, I am biased towards X-Men. But putting that aside, even if he didn't appear like this in X-Men, it's still a badass looking suit. Like the armor, the black and red color combination, it is so badass. And honestly, you know, that suit and tie look for Dracula, it's played out. You know, that doesn't fit the bill in Marvel. This makes it look like he fits in the Marvel universe. The head sculpt is impressive. I love the expression there. And look, they actually sculpted fangs on him, unlike the Storm. So this looks really good. I like the earrings there, the ponytail. Also, it is articulate too. So I do like that if you want to put him in some dynamic posing or poses. That looks really, really good. And then you got some discs right there with a chain on the chest plate armor right there. So nice. You can see some wear and tear, some battle damage markings. I like that. And then the arms right there, you can see the sleeves into the gauntlets right there. Love the spiky gauntlets. It just looks so good. And it's a great combo with the knees and the boots because they have that spiky look going on. So it just goes so nicely with it. And you can see the red and black pattern right there. Some nice paint job. I'm looking at it to the sides right there and onto the back. Looks good. Some good details on the fist as well. And this just looks nice. Nice armor. It's just an all new sculpt from scratch that looks so damn good. And also the cape here is keyed into the sculpt. So it looks really nice. A nice tattered look. That is a really nice cape. We got a lot of ties to Dracula in this wave. Storm, who was bitten by him, and then Lilith, who's his daughter. Now for accessories, he comes with an alternate head that has a more relaxed and stoic look. Nice paint job, by the way. And he has this hairstyle that's a little bit different from the other one. It's more of a relaxed, straight down ponytail. The other one is a little more dynamic, good for action like dynamic poses. This one, however, is still rotatable, so you can do that as well. But I like this. I wish they could make all ponytails articulate. Then he comes with this sword, very long looking sword, and I like how jagged it is right there in the middle. I like the look of it. He also comes with a gripping hand to hold the sword, and it does have a vertical hinge so he can hold the sword aloft. And he has an open hand on the left with the traditional horizontal hinge. Since he's an all new sculpt, definitely gonna cover articulation for Dracula, so his head, well, let's start with the hair. It's articulate, so you know it swivels around, and his head can look up about that far, not too bad, and that far down, left, right, and he does pivot nicely right there. You got his arms that move all the way up about slightly higher than a straight T pose. If not, it's pretty much straight. The cape doesn't really hinder it because it's kind of pliable. And then you got the arms that move up and down. You got the bicep swivel. You do get a single jointed elbow, but it has that long hinge so he can get past the 90-degree mark. Really good bend right there for articulation. And also, He has a forearm swivel right there too. He's got the wrist swivel and a wrist hinge. The torso, I'm a little iffy on because they gave him the upper torso swivel, so he bends about that, not really much forward, just a little bit, not much. It moves back. Of course, you could pivot it side to side, swivel it, rock it around, do that. However, missed opportunity here. They should have added the inverted ab crunch. I felt like that they could have snuck that in here behind this sculpt because that would have gave him a lot more bend. That's the only thing I would change with this figure. The legs, they do move outward that far. Look at that. You could get a full split with that guy. That's crazy. No drop down legs. The legs kick up real high and that far back, so you could get a full frontward split too. They rock around. You got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and no heel to the Dracula butt. Or am I? No. Oh, wait. I was wrong. You can get it all the way there. Look at that. That's some really good range. And then you have an ankle swivel. You have the hinges that move up and down, and you can rock those ankles around. Dracula is probably the best figure in the wave. This all-new sculpt is stellar and comes with a handful of accessories. All he needed was an ab crunch for articulation and maybe butterfly joints. Yeah, I would have added that, but everything else is up to par for the most part. I'm rating Dracula an 8.75 out of 10. And now to round out the wave, we got the Build-A-Figure, Mephisto's son himself, Blackheart. And to measure this guy up, he stands at about 8.1 inches, so it's a good size. And if I bring out Ghost Rider here, as you can see, he scales nicely. They could have gone different ways with Blackheart because he's been drawn bulky, he's been drawn scrawny. I think this is a good medium. I like this size for Blackheart. Unfortunately, the figure I was looking forward to the most, I am largely disappointed by a lot of things here. So, as you can see, he doesn't have that purplish hue that Toy Biz nailed perfectly. I think it captures the character. It's just a solid black. There's none of that here. And one of the most annoying things is that he can be very tricky to balance. He has the digitigrade feet, but you have to rely on the tail, plant it on the surface so that he can stand up straight. I mean, you could get him to stand up straight without the tail touching the surface, but it might favor the weight if you push him going forward. I mean, it's doable, but he's either gonna swing back or forth depending on how long you have him standing like that with his tail above the surface. And there are some other things that disappoint me in the figure as well, but I'll touch on that later. So let's take a closer look at the head sculpt. Taking a close look at the head sculpture here, it looks awesome. He has that Predator-like visage, you know, with the dreads, and his head is shaped like Predator too. But it looks so good with the sculpt, the eyes painted in red, and you get the dreads here. So, as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't have that purple hue on his body, but it is on his spiky hair. As you can see, there is some purple traveling down, and I like the way they did the hair because it's like made up of 3 pieces. So you got this top piece right here, you got this middle piece right here, and then the bottom piece right here. I think they could have went a little longer with the hair. I would have loved to have seen them, you know, go and over exaggerate it a bit, but that would cause even more balancing problems. So it's a good thing they kept it this way. Still an impressive looking hairstyle, I guess, you know, whatever this is, but it just looks really good. Again, the head sculpt here, you get some spiky bumps, and that goes all over the body. You know, at first I really thought they were going to reuse the movie Venom Buck for a Blackheart one day, and they didn't. It's an all new sculpt, and you know, that's great. I love all the spiky bumps all over the body. Man, if he had that purplish hue that really makes Blackheart look like Blackheart, that would have been great. But between the textures and the bumps, it looks great. It feels great. You can see he's got opened, relaxed hands on both sides. Some really nice sculpting there. Torso on the back. The tail is what's really disappointing for me. Even though it is bendy wire, and I'm happy that it's bendy wire, Hasbro doesn't seem to nail the bendy wire. I mean, I think it is the plastic that they're using that doesn't let the bendy wire that they use function to its full potential. And I don't understand. It has only like one bending point, and you can't really get that kind of slithering look to it. Now, if I bring out the packaging here, you see how wavy it looks, and it's curling right there at the tip of the tail. It's like it's slithering just like a snake, and you can't do that. You can't do that at all. If I even attempt to try it, not gonna work. Again, you saw that end tip right there. It was like really curled up on the promo images, and this is as good as it's gonna get. You know, it's only really one bending point, and it's like right there near the bottom of the tail. I mean, there's some bend you could get right there at the top, but it just springs back. Again, the plastic that they're using doesn't allow whatever bendy material they're using to really flex to the fullest. I'm trying to get this thing to like curl up and coil up. It's not really working. And the tail is also keyed into the sculpt, so it does not rotate or swivel. Here are the rest of the legs, and you can see it's pretty muscular. Getting more of those spiky bumps, and yeah, holding the figure, you're definitely gonna feel those spikes. And here are the calves, and the toe claws came out looking great, almost raptor-like feet. Now for accessories, only one fist for the right hand, and then an open hand for the left. It's a different hand gesture, as you got these two fingers curled in. Articulation, this is where my disappointment largely comes in, all right? He cannot look up. That's as far as you're gonna get. And he does look down a good amount. Left, right, you do get some nice pivoting. And his arms do move about that far up. Hold on, it's a hard ratchet joint. And if you could get those spiky bumps out of the way, he can move it up a little bit further. So I'd say slightly higher than a T-pose. You got the butterfly joints that move forward and back, so not that bad at all. And you got his arms that, you know, you can swing them up and down. Bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. Good range there. You got the wrist swivel and the wrist hinge. When it comes to the diaphragm joint, it sucks on this. So first, the good thing is that he does crunch forward a good amount and moves back a good amount. That's great. My issue is here with the upper torso swivel, because it does not swivel. Every time I try to swivel it, it springs back. You see that? If I go left or right, it just keeps springing back. It does not want to swivel. And I know it's because they use that stupid squared out peg and not a proper ball joint. I can pivot the torso and rock it around, no problem. But when it comes to swiveling, man, that resistance, it just feels like it's going to snap. Again, I can swivel it. I just feel like it's going to snap with that springing. Something doesn't feel right in there. This should not be happening, but I don't know if I have a faulty one, but it's not swiveling. It just feels like it has this resistance that it wants to snap and break. All right, the legs, they spread out that far, so you could get almost a full split. He does kick up really high. He does kick far back, so he could get an awkward frontward split. The legs rock around, no drop down thighs. Thigh swivel, you got double jointed knees and digitigrade heel to the butt. And then the ankles, this is where it's really disappointing and kind of ruins the figure for me. Because, alright, you get your regular ankle hinge, so you can move that up and down. However, there is no ankle pivoting. It only swivels. That is the shittiest option they could do for this. It's not your traditional ankle hinge that has that angled out peg that, you know, creates that ankle pivoting. No, the peg is straight down and it just swivels, and that's what poses a problem, because you're not going to get any good crouching poses out of this guy because the simple fact of the lack of ankle pivoting. So say goodbye to any good wide stances. It's just not going to work. Again, if I want to have his knee out and his leg out like this, I can't pivot it to make his feet plant on the surface like so. It's always gonna stick out like that. Should have looked closer to the promo images, because look at that ankle. It was warning us, man, and I was a fool to ignore it. Man, the design team didn't know what they were doing, not giving this guy ankle rockers. And don't tell me it's because the digitigrade feet. It is possible, because I could bring out the Raptors from the Amber Collection, and this have the digitigrade feet, and look at that ankle pivot. So yeah, that falls on the design team. They got this completely wrong. So if you don't want this guy falling on your shelf, it's best to have this tail planted on the surface to support his weight. Again, you guys know I'm a good poser, and if I'm struggling, then, you know, the average collector that doesn't know how to really execute poses on their figures, they're gonna struggle. Good thing they didn't give this guy toe joints, because that would have made it worse. That would have created more balancing issues. Can I get him into some good crouching poses? Sure, but not as many as I would like. And again, look at the head not being able to look up. It totally hurts the crouching poses. You'll have to cheat a little bit, popping that head off, and even so, it's not that good. Look, man, the sculpt is superb, but the articulation takes away from that sculpt. You can't utilize it the way you want. Therefore, this sculpt and articulation combo doesn't cooperate well with each other to find the right balance. Blackheart is the most disappointing BAF of the year so far and leaves much to be desired. The best feature is the sculpt, but sculpt can only get you so far when there is a lack of support in paint and articulation behind it, especially when most of the articulation doesn't function properly. I'm giving this Blackheart a generous mediocre score of a 6 out of 10. Only gonna do comparisons that matter to me, so first up here is Moonight next to some of his fellow West Coast Avengers. Here is Dracula next to his daughter Lilith. Then we have some other vampires like Blade, Morbius, and also Bloodstorm from this wave. Now you can give your Blade more vampires to fight. Lastly, here is some Ghost Rider love for comparisons. We got Blackheart, Danny Ketch, Johnny Blaze, Lilith, and Orb. So it's nice to see Hasbro is giving us a little bit of Ghost Rider's Rogues Gallery. Some more, please. And now to wrap things up, my final rating as a collective wave is a 5 out of 10. You know, I don't know why I got so hyped for this wave when it was first revealed. I guess it was mainly because of Blackheart, but that figure ended up ultimately disappointing me. And after taking some time to reflect on it afterwards, this wave really doesn't have an identity. It feels more like a Marvel Knights Wave 3 and not Strange Tales. When I think of Strange Tales, I think of obviously our Doctor Stranges, our Baron Mortals, our Nightmares, Adam Warlocks, our Namors. Would have been a great time to give us an updated classic. Our Human Torches, our Brother Voodoos, which we have here, but not the right look. No one else here is Strange Tales. So on a Hasbro, please get Jesse Falcon the fuck off the creative team, as he's completely out of touch, and it shows here. This wave is compiled of a shit lineup with only 2 out of the 8 figures having all new sculpts. Most of these were straight up outdated reused garbage of different versions from characters we already have. Not Lilith, even though the Shriek body is kinda new being 4 years old, but it feels outdated already with the new female articulation they just added. The wave struggles to find its identity, and not even the X-Men characters in here were enough to save the wave. I would have swapped the rest with some other Ghost Rider characters to join Hellstrom, if he was in his classic costume, Lilith, and Blackheart for a kick-ass Ghost Rider wave. To rank them, at the bottom I have Bloodstorm at 8, 7 Hellstrom, 6 Dr. Doodoo, 5 Helverine, 4 Moonight is high only because I need him for my West Coast Avengers. Number 3, Blackheart, who should have been number 1, but too many issues prevented that. Number 2, Lilith, she gets checked off my wish list for first time in the line. And number 1 is Dracula, who I think pound for pound is the absolute best figure in the wave, but sadly, he'll be underrated as I don't see a lot of collectors interested in this X-Men version of the character. I hate to say it, but the wave is not worth the bath. No, actually, I'm glad to say it, so that Hasbro knows not to give us bath waves with nothing but outdated, useless bodies for the $150 to $175 price tag it costs to complete a bath wave. Them limiting bath waves yearly now should give them the reason to go all out for them. If you want Blackheart, I'd say try getting him off any aftermarket place, or maybe just wait for them to re-release him as a deluxe. Hopefully, if they do re-release him, he'll have the purple decal like the Toy Biz one, and maybe fix the ankles like they did with the armored MCU Thanos that had no ankle rockers. If you remember, they re-released him later with the ankle fix. Sorry for no story time, guys. My schedule was extremely tight with time, so it wasn't manageable, but I hope I still gave you an honestly blunt, critically valid, and entertaining review that you found enjoyable, whether you agree or not. Luckily for me, my channel pays for the wave, but for you, avoid paying full retail if you are looking to complete. 2024 has been a great year, but this is the worst wave of the year. Now I kick it back to you. What do you think of this Strange Tales wave? Who are your favorite and least favorites? And where would you rank them? Would you be down for a Strange Tales wave 2? Because I'm not. No more of this. Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Thanks for watching another Marvel Legends review. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xmanny87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.